Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Keisha Martin, and I am coming on to talk about the solar eclipse and the powers of that energy and how it can affect us. Now, the solar eclipse, I know it happened yesterday. A lot of us may have been deflated by, the actual visual, but um, the curiosity around what exactly is it is what I wanted to touch on. Now, the solar eclipse itself is a very powerful source of energy between the sun and the moon combined together. It is a wonderful way to be able to connect on a divine level where you can be connected with God, the universe, and truly tap into the things that you truly need to release, where you are letting go of the things that do not serve you and you're starting anew with some really powerful, creative, harnessing energy where you're activating the various chakras from your crown all the way through. And it can really, truly be a powerful way of transformation because you have both celestial bodies combined and you're harnessing with that energy. Now, with that being said, there was, some feelings around this particular eclipse. And with this eclipse, the energies were drastically different than the one in 2017. And I could not ignore what I was feeling, the heaviness and the weight. And instead of me being excited about this eclipse, I was actually concerned. And as I would do my work, with the energy work that I was doing, a lot of evidence was coming in showing me that there's something greater, something bigger happening. Now, what I could see was that there was this energetic force coming in, and it was like blocking this force from the sun and the moon. This is what I was seeing. And it wasn't blocking it where you weren't able to receive it. Like we completely could receive this energy. What I was seeing though was that as we're receiving, we're also giving. Like we're sending our power. I could see the people giving their power and just releasing and opening things up because they're taking the power of belief, they're taking their faith, they're taking their energy, focusing everything all in. So you have your belief, your faith, and the power within you all combined, sending it up, connecting it with the celestial body. Now, in a normal sense, it would have been perfectly fine. But with this piece that I was seeing in the energetic force, the energetic space, it was like taking this energy, pulling it out into one thing and transmuting it. And then I would see a big black hole with darker entities and energies coming in. Now that was scary. That needed to be addressed because I'm like, what exactly is happening here? So as I'm seeing what's happening in the energetic space, it's clear that there's a device or some form of transmutation where they're taking energy from the mass and utilizing it to create something dark, something heavy for the planet. Now, on the physical level, there were certain things that showed up. And when I saw NASA design APEP as their mission, that was pretty blatant, is what I could say, because the name APEP is actually the name of a god of destruction and chaos. So, knowing what I know, that the powers that be and people that are higher and more influential, that they do tap into higher energies, dark and light, there is a spiritual and a energetic war going on right now. And a lot of the things that we see manifesting out in reality are just reflections of things that are going on the unseen world. The outside is the reflection of the inside. And the more we use that, that's like a motto that I use. A friend of mine, he had gave me that message years ago. And it's helped me like manage through my life. And what we can do now, because this thing has happened, it's already occurred. And there are forces outside of myself that have seen this as well. So there has been some work to protect humanity, not just from one person, but globally, multiple, maybe thousands and thousands of people have all been able to see this and be able to connect into this energy to help create some level of protection against what is happening. Now, there are a number of things that we can do, and a lot of it is regards to setting the intention of protecting yourself and knowing when to draw your energy back in, because as you are feeling into the universe and you're learning how to tap in, it's important to discern what energies you are connecting with. Okay, there's a reason why everything was kept taboo. There's a reason why things were held to the elitist, because there are some of the lineages that were born, they were originally maybe descendants of a god or goddess, if when you read ancient texts. Now, somewhere in between, jealousy, power, greed all came in the mix. That's now wiped out. So when people are elitists and they're holding on to this knowledge, it's not necessarily because there's some sacred divine knowledge. A lot of it's now for power control. Okay. And for us to be able to protect ourselves, so you can consciously choose and understand, or consciously grow, tap into your crown chakra, feel into your energies, it really requires love. Okay. It requires an opening of your heart and having a level of humility where you can have and feel into a pure level of joy. And the levels, if you can't get into joy, you can't get into love, and you can't believe in unconditional love, those are your signs that there is things to heal from. Whether it's accepting the trauma, accepting that these things has happened, not accept it for it to happen again, but accept that it did, so you're not worrying, you're not losing sleep, you're not having anxiety, PTSD from this experience. Because the more we harness into love, the more we can move from a pure sense of energy where you can discern what exactly you're working with, if it's a good energy or a bad energy, if something's attached to you, if something's not attached to you, if you're working with God or if you're working with something else, because there are so many levels to this unseen world that many people are unaware of, but there's so many that are just dabbling in things, or they're calling themselves witches, or calling themselves, um, they're channeling, and they're not really discerning, taking the time to understand with great wisdom what it is that they're talking to, who they are praying to, who they are connecting with. And they feel like because they have a good heart, that's enough. But it's not. And it may sound harsh to say it, but it's not, because there's different levels. And if you are vibrating, say you're sad, say you're upset about something, say there's someone you're still mad at and you have unforgiveness and there's anger in you about it, you are, as much as you're smiling and you're trying to stay positive, it can be a level of toxic positivity where now you are really here, but you are trying to operate at a higher level than you truly are. And now whatever energy is higher is what you're going to attract, which will include like a lower level entity. It would include agreements and contracts that you're forming. You can start to open up darker portals and energies, and then start to wreak havoc in your area, in your life, in your community, across the globe, inadvertently. And it sounds scary when I'm saying it, but it's scary when someone else is experiencing it as well. So, this message is to allow you to learn that before you decide to sit down and pray, or pick up a crystal, or pick up your Bible, the Quran, or whatever you choose to read, that you are truly operating out of a space of love. That way, you know when to pull your energy back, when to pull your energy forward, and allowing yourself to truly bloom, and telling anything that is not in love, or anything that is not in your highest or best good, to leave, you know? What really confirmed things for me was like listening to one of my mentors, and he saw the same exact thing. And it's like, I felt bad. I almost could smack myself, because I'm like, I already received all the message, but yet I was still like, I don't know if this is really this big, you know? And when I heard Jerry Sargent from Star Magic say the same thing. I'm like, wow, he's seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing. It's not just me, because it's like I didn't see every other person, which there are a lot of fake or inauthentic, or maybe there are a lot of fake and inauthentic spiritual people out there, all right, in any faith, even new age, okay? But there's also a lot of folks who just haven't gotten to that level yet. They got so excited, they maybe learned a couple things, tied it to what they knew from, you know, church or wherever they went, and feel like they can go help the world, and they're not realizing how much more knowledge, how much the depth of where you have to go really is, and then they're passing out inaccurate information, you know. So this is why discernment, this is why knowing the true source and really knowing how to feel into that energy field is so important. If not, you can be easily misled. I know, I've been there. You know, I've been there. And it's easy for us to, you know, want to dismiss it because our ego wants to be fed. Our ego wants to think, oh no, I'm love and light, I'm perfect, and everything's right. And sadly, sometimes because something snuck in, we can accidentally listen to the wrong thing. So, like, your clairaudience was working, but it listened to the wrong thing because you were on the wrong floor. So, the easiest way I can explain, you know, the different levels, it's like, say we're on the third floor, you know, we're three-dimensional beings. We'll just say that we're on the third floor, for example. And then say when someone passes away, they are on the fourth level, you know, they're like a step above because they're maybe transcending to the heavens or wherever they're taking their next journey, right? Then there we heard of fifth dimension. So entities and things like that, they will be lower level. Maybe they're on the second, maybe they're at the bottom, the ground, the lower level. Okay. And then the other ones, like the celestial beings, the angelic beings, they will be maybe floor 9, 10, 11, things like that. So if you think of it that way, wherever you're vibrating on will determine what floor you're on, you know? So sometimes you may not be on the third floor. Sometimes you may be vibrating higher, you go up to the fifth or the seventh. And you're now hearing or seeing or feeling those type of levels. The celestial beings. But then there's other times maybe you're sad about something. Maybe you had a death in the family, or maybe you lost your job, or maybe you just had a really bad day. That one day you can drop to maybe level 2, level 1. Now you're attracting these other entities. So now you're asking and praying for things, but you haven't taken the time to let go of all the stuff. So now you're just praying and attaching yourself to other things. So that's how easily things can happen. All right. I wanted to take this into a nutshell, but the things that were coming in on the eclipse, I was like, it's not wise to give our energy into this thing, because the objective here was not conducive to the rest of us. There was something clear, especially even as blatant as using the word Apep, the god of chaos. You're showing us that this thing that you're trying to do, you're trying to open up other portals, other dimensions, which the eclipse is good for, because you're blending the sun and the moon together. And when you're pulling those two together, you are now, like some ancient civilizations, they believed that this was a gateway to other worlds. Okay. Now, as much as we may think that this sounds woo woo, much of everything believes in this. All right. If you don't believe me, you can Google yourself. You'll see how much ancient priests, priestesses, rulers, kings, queens relied on the mysticisms, the mystics, the astrology, the signs from the stars to make decisions. It has not left. Government, military, they use different techniques to do, to find people, you know, in regards whether it not astral projection, but if they want to if something's missing, they can create points, and what they'll do is they'll tie it energetically to the person or to the thing that they're looking for, and then they're able to locate it. Okay, so these are all techniques that are out there. It's something that's being done. And they've been used to control the masses for a long time. And what I saw when I was in my sessions, when I was dealing with all the energies prior to the eclipse, that was what I was seeing. And then when I just saw the confirmation to the spaceship, to me that was it. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I wanted to share that with you all, because if I had just seen the spaceship, I wouldn't have thought about it. I mean, of course, I would have raised my like, oh well, they're up to something else again, but I wouldn't have thought that. But when I saw everything energetically, that's why I said there's something else, there's something more to this whole thing. Um, so a lot of areas in this were protected, but so unless you're feeling heavy, or feeling the potency of something negative being pushed on you, then I would suggest doing the clearings. If you need a session, you can book with me. You can just click the links. Otherwise, do your prayers, do your cleansings, do your meditation, and just clear your space. For the most part, a lot of you should feel great. I know I do after the eclipse. I just didn't go out in it, but I mean, the energy was still very present and potent here. So I hope this makes sense to you. If you have questions, feel free to message me. This was just about sharing what I've seen. It's not really, if you don't believe, you could take it as a grain of salt. It's no skin off my back. A lot of things I didn't believe, trust and believe that. But here we are. So my name is Keisha Martin. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, subscribe to my channel, help support assist us so that way we can be able to get this message out and allow people to know more about how to harness the energy within themselves and how to connect with with the divine being, and understanding their energetic body as well as their spiritual divine essence, because we really, God created us, but how much do we know? And science is learning how to understand it. And that's what I'm here for. All right. So, sharing my channel messages and wisdoms with you, and I will see you in the next episode.